Season 4 of The Boys.
Yeah, it happened, didn't it?
A lot of people think the show is way worse now. I would agree that it is definitely worse than it was in season 1, but you've never really loved The Boys.
I would give this season a stern C-C, going, you could do better.
I really enjoyed season 1. Season 2 fell off a little bit for me, but Homelander still pulled me through. And then I really enjoyed season 3 because season 3 felt like it had more of an arc.
Season 3 actually had them like doing things.
They were on the back foot again, like season 1.
In my mind's eye, it was a lot of, we've got to go do this. And next episode, they went and did it. Then they went and did it. Where this one was like, dun. What are we going to do this week, gang?
The show is not bad now because it's woke. It's always been woke.
It's always been woke.
I think what's happening for people is they might not have viewed it as woke because it wasn't relevant woke is kind of what I'm trying to get at. That when they say it's getting too political, it's literally getting political, and people's brains are able to view wokeness as not political when it's actually not about politics. But now that they're literally talking about the presidential debate alongside a presidential debate, like it's getting too real, I think, for people. The political landscape has changed massively in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's not like in season 3 of Daredevil where they try and frame Kingpin as being a Donald Trump and have the term fake news be used.
Oh, I didn't remember that at all.
So for me, The Boys has continued to be The Boys this season. It's just been a bit of a worse version. Like all its bad habits have came out a bit more.
They're going spectacle over subtlety. Subtle's probably the bad word because, like, obviously they're very... It used to be woven in, and now it just kind of like, oh, that is what this is. And they're focusing way too much on torturing Huey, and it's all just Huey torture porn.
It's definitely the weirdest season in terms of things that happened to Huey. I lost my dad, my mum abandoned me, came back.
None of these things alter his personality or the way he reacts to things.
I had to apologise to my mum. I then got tortured, almost, heavily abused by my childhood hero. Like, my favourite character is Batman. So it's like if Batman was real and then turns out Batman wants to do horrible things to me.
Yep.
The week my dad died. And what the hell? And then it's revealed to him that Annie, who became a bit more like, hey, like, it turns out it's this weird shapeshifter. Turns out he's been having, in a way, unconsensual sex because it wasn't my girlfriend.
And then gets blamed for it.
That I really didn't like.
That's character assassination for Starlight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Actually, they've done that twice now. Girls can be mean, but I don't believe young Starlight was that much of a monster.
I was annoyed because I wanted Huey to go, my dad's died, I almost got abused by Techno.
Huey can't defend himself.
So my girlfriend being a little bit supportive the past week or two, maybe I wasn't quite thinking straight because of all what's just happened to me.
It was a good distraction.
It was nice that I assumed, stupid me to assume that my girlfriend maybe wanted to make sure I was okay.
And I can view Starlight as also being hurt because she's like, how could you not know it was me? But also there's no resolution to the fact that she comes around. Like, it's not like they have a big instant fight, storm off, and then they come back. Because Huey doesn't defend himself. But then when she talks to him next, she's just like, oh, you're grounded for a month, lover boy. And it's like, come, what?
And Starlight, obviously, she had that stress of not being able to have her powers because the scriptwriters didn't want her to.
Oh, because it's Spider-Man, it's Superman.
But that wasn't done nearly as well as those examples. She gets it back in the car. Like they forgot when, oh yeah, hang on.
It's two things I love and hate about that kind of thing. I love when personality affects powers. Like Huey's dad thinks the mum saw right through him. They were a bit blatant with that one, but that's why he can do that. Huey always wants to run away from situations.
So he got teleportation.
Teleports away. Butcher wants to kick the shit out of Homelander.
So he gets
Homelander's powers.
Yeah. Ashley wants to, never mind.
That was almost a stinger that they forgot to put at the end.
I was waiting for that to be the stinger.
Taking away a character's powers because they have an identity crisis only works in Spider-Man 2 for me because it's not him having an identity crisis. It's kind of like he wants to give up his powers.
Because in the original comic it's based on, he still just has the powers and opts not to do it. Which, in this it's a bit
more drama, but I hate it. It's just overdone. It's like, oh, you're having an identity crisis, no more powers for you until you need them. Because you know they're going to come back when they need them. And that's why Starlight's just been boring and ineffectual all season. The whole season realistically spun its wheels the whole time. It feels like they decided...
They had the ending.
They decided what they wanted to do at the end.
President Homelander, more or less.
Because they're like, we know what we want for a season, but we're like, shit, we can't stuff all that at the start of a season and then do what we want for season 5. So we need a season before season 5? What if we give Frenchie a boring storyline, Kimiko a boring storyline, which they wrap up with one conversation? Like, neither of them get actual closure.
And the farm is a fun distraction, and
Oh, God. It was an hour and 10-minute episode.
just on the farm.
And all you do is explode sheep for a bit there.
So at the end, Butcher accepts his tumour, and he looked way healthier at the end than he did. So is that him accepting that so he gets to be healthy again?
I think fighting the tumor is what was killing him.
So accepting it is what's made him, is
I
what
guess.
they've went with. Because he seemed to be in control when he let those tentacles out.
Or the voice inside his head was.
Yeah.
Butcher probably had the only good storyline this season. I don't know whether it worked on a character level, I have to talk about it, but I think it at least got him to a point where he can do stuff in the plot now. And it was a good reveal that had at least 2 weeks of people going, is that guy real?
Yeah. Like we thought maybe Huey was doing it with his mum too. Like
Yes.
his mum wasn't
or
really
that the
there.
mum was the shapeshifter, that theory came up.
Oh.
It seemed like the shapeshifter Annie was expecting to get the ring. So when Huey ran off to go get the ring, it seemed like Annie already knew the ring was coming. But also then that means the shapeshifter would have had to touch the mum at some point. So it would have been very convoluted. And it could have been the shapeshifter got obsessed with Huey at some point because they are a sociopath. But either way, the shapeshifter needed to come in way earlier in the season.
Would have been a fun what if.
Because Annie not having her powers could have been just because they were the shapeshifter. And the shapeshifter's going, oh man, I don't have my powers. And then you find out Annie's locked in a box somewhere, full raging with her powers, but can't get out. It's weird that the shapeshifter, like, its main form was to turn into a subscribe button, and then Huey just kept hitting it, and then she turned into a notification bell, and Huey would hit her.
I think the problem is is what you're saying right now is you feel like you could summarise every character's growth in a sentence or two, and they had 8 hours.
Kimiko and Frenchie, their resolution is, oh, we are fucked up, but we should be together because we're both fucked up.
We never saw Frenchie kill that guy's family in
No.
like a previous season. That got me so confused because they're acting like we know.
And last season, they wasted a bunch of time as well saying Frenchie has a weird, sketchy past.
Yeah.
Which we got because he knows how to make bombs out of cigarettes. Like, we guessed the man had a shady past.
Remember how fun Frenchie used to be?
Season 1 Frenchie is peak Frenchie.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch all that. I'd say, as ever, the writers, the acting, we all just love Homelander. And for me, whenever he popped up on screen, I was always like, oh yeah, I think Homelander's a well-written, interesting character.
He's the only one they had anything.
He's the only one they feel the confident to really dig into. And like,
But they keep having to set him back because every time he reaches his ultimate conclusion, the show would start ending because he would go take over the White House.
yes.
But then they have to cut him back to this, and then they build him back up, and then they cut him back a bunch.
And I think the Sage stuff was pretty weak.
Sage was bullshit.
Like, oh, it was all part of my plan. I'm like,
Literally the worst stinger they could have gone with. The reason that sucks is because I'm not calling the writers dumb, but you can't write someone smarter than yourself easily. It's very difficult to write. So what they've gone with is
she's read the scripts.
they went with the Ahsoka Thrawn approach of Thrawn is really smart, so no matter what happens, no matter what setbacks, it was always Thrawn's idea.
It is really difficult. You, as someone who writes as well, and you're creative, it's very difficult.
It works with detective stories. You can write Sherlock
because you make it.
because you make up all the clues as well. A detective story is you write one bad guy who leaves a couple of clues, and the smart person sees the clues. It's not you have to write a massive interweaving story and then go, oh yeah, this person made that happen.
Well, this is meant to be like Sage, yeah. She's so clever. She's gained out every single possibility.
There was a few hiccups along the way, but it all turned out well.
Yeah, I guess her skull can also heal, small thing, but she got shot in the head and we're told her brain can
I
regenerate.
think all soups can
Heavily
heal to at
strengthened.
least somewhat. I think it's mainly because it's prediction versus retroactive, where like a detective only has to figure out things that have already happened and like are definite, whereas with Sage, she is predicting an incalculable amount of variables. It's not just about being smart at that point.
A bit confused at some things where I always thought in those first few seasons and what we saw at the opening season 1, Homelander is saving. They stop the bank robbery, and we have discussions of
Yes.
cities wanting superheroes, having contracts with Vought. But then we're revealed
Only
that,
this season. This season is bullshit for that reason as well.
that everything has been pretend.
Yep.
Like it went from being a few things that dressed up.
That's possibly the worst thing this season did for
They
me.
definitely say that.
Yes, they say that no save has ever been real, and they say it multiple times, and A-Train is talking up one of his saves to his nephews, and then his brother says, that was a fake save. If you had real saves, you wouldn't go out of your way to talk about fake saves. And then they have the poignant moment where A-Train rescues...
He actually saved someone.
The kid is like, wow, you're so great. And that's the first time that's happened. It's like, no, every other season they were doing real saves.
If all of this is pretend and the stunt doubles who are actors who are playing different criminals, I mean, they all wear masks, so eventually this stuff gets out. I mean, I know they cover it up, but... The amount of stuff that's got out already in this world, it's amazing that never got out. They even revealed that Compound V's a lie, because remember it was meant to be only America's superpowers because we're God's country.
And it just ruins so many characters, because like you grow up being a hero, or like Starlight grows up because she wants to be a hero. If at some point Starlight's save was fake, she would be disillusioned. That would be horrible.
Yeah.
So that's probably the worst thing this season does. Second would be probably the Sister Sage runs everything, even though that's more of a stinger, so it's kind of dumb up to then. I think Ashley has a good arc of everything finally coming down.
I like Ashley.
Like her downfall. She's also just really likable.
She fired her assistant to save him.
Which is why the writers can't be stupid, because like that, there's fantastic moments in there.
Oh yeah, of course not.
And also they wrote Gen V. Gen V is fantastic.
Gen V is great.
Gen V is how season 1 felt to me. And all those saves were real.
We're getting Gen V season 2, then season 5 of Boys.
Yes, even though I think they take away from a lot of Gen V this season by, spoiler, killing Newman. Like, that ruins so much story potential.
And then they put her daughter in the orphanage for superpowered children.
Yes. Which we don't care about the daughter because she was just there. She's just around.
That was crazy though that they did that.
And they went out of their way to save Giancarlo Esposito, but then he disappears because Newman's dead now. Like, he means a lot less without Newman around.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And they just showed Newman dying because, Newman was unkillable.
No deals.
And now Butcher can kill her, which means...
She's unkillable because she has the same powers as the Gen V, that for some reason blood manipulation means you have impenetrable skin.
They're two separate powers. That's just, she has very good skin. Her skincare routine is fantastic.
On top of blood exploding.
Yeah.
Okay. But then aren't we, but at the end of Gen V, he lasers her and then she wakes up completely fine.
Yeah, knocks her out. Like,
he knocks her out with a laser. The thing that we've seen that immediately cuts through people.
Yeah, she's stronger. Her skin good. Same way that, remember how Stormfront could get lasered in the tits and survive for ages?
Yeah, but wasn't that set up that because she is as strong as...
Yeah, and so is... People can have multiple... Like, the same way you can fly, but have laser eyes.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
So it's dumb that she can now get ripped in half by Butcher, because that means Butcher could probably take on Homelander, maybe?
Well, this is it. The show, on a technical aspect, I've never particularly liked visually how it is.
Oh, really? I'm more than happy with it.
This one, to me, it's always, we're in a mid-shot, people are just in rooms, there's no travelling, there's no sense of progression, it's just, here we are in the room.
That's this season more than the others.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I absolutely understand that it's expensive to do stuff, but the scale of the show has felt smaller than it has in the past.
Because it's a filler, they have nothing to do, so they turn it into a CW show by making characters stop moving, sit down and talk, and they just happen to be in a farm.
And the boys have a office space, which is not to maul it.
Not to maul it,
but why doesn't Homelander just roll on by and laser them?
If he's willing to send Noir and...
Which he did anyway.
Noir was actually really funny this season.
That, and he has the same actor from all the previous seasons, but it's not the same actor from the flashback.
Yes,
that was a
he
different
finally
actor.
gets to talk now, which is great.
It's great that it's just the same guy.
Yeah, good for him.
It's a good reference to when he says, I can fly, because he's just Homelander's clown in the comic, yeah.
That's fun. The fact that he's willing to send the Deep and stuff to kill them, if he went himself, they would be dead. The reason he has never gone after the boys like that was because there was always a political reason, or he's not able to kill them. Wow. But ever since he killed a man in broad daylight last season, it opened up a few too many doors and windows, perhaps, that he can now just kill people and get away with it. That's the thing. The season still has some really good moments. It's just whenever they start spinning their wheels. And there's a reason we got a 3-part season opener, because every time, Disney is notorious. If you get more than one episode for the premiere, it means that episode sucks.
But they always do 3 parts. The Prime,
do they?
For The Boys has always done 3 parts.
I think it's maybe because the season openers might always suck.
That's it. Like, we want people to get stuck in a bit.
Just write good first episodes. I say it all the time.
And Doctor Who gave us 2, right?
Because the first episode sucked.
Yeah. So that's kind of it.
It's the kiss of death. Oh, we have a show coming up soon, and it's got a 2-part season opener. And I'm like, oh, good, it's going to be dog shit. Agatha All Along, the new Marvel show, 2-part opener.
I don't care about Marvel. Obviously, Anthony Starr is absolutely incredible as Homelander in terms of understanding a character and being that character. I'll put him up there with Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. This is an example of there's only one guy who can play this, born for this crazy, off-the-line hero.
People are such dicks. His voice is breaking in the show because he's a teenager. And I think it works so well because he has all the strength in the world, but he's got this tweeny little voice.
Which is what Homelander is still inside.
Yeah.
I wish we got more Homelander mirror stuff. Also, this is it. Homelander openly drinking breast milk. When's that been a thing?
Because he's all powerful now. They opened everything when he can kill a person in real life, which is what I mean by they have to reset his character so often because otherwise he thinks he can do everything. Whereas this season, he deleted Ashley as the CEO. He took over. But then he had to bring in Sage. There's no reason this season almost needs to happen. He could have rolled into the White House at any moment and said to the president, do what I want or I'll kill you.
Yeah, Homelander is Batman's 1%. You know,
he's God.
People... He's the strongest. Yeah, he can be as strong as the writers need him to be. He can be as strong as Superman if they need him to be as strong as Superman.
Or as ineffectual as this season.
I always like, because Anthony Starr said, when he said to Jensen Ackles, why did you get all the muscles? Just have the suit be padded. Yeah. And we see, I think in season 3, we see Homelander shirtless, sort of blurred, and it is just Anthony Starr's normal body.
Which makes sense.
But that is a great in-world that he wouldn't exercise.
Yeah, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have the perfect body, but he's still a tank.
And if he's not even fighting real crimes.
You wouldn't have to try it. Because when has Homelander ever pushed himself?
Exactly. That's the thing I like about him. It's the whole Mr. Incredible needs to lift a train to get in shape type stuff, you know?
Exactly that. Season 1, where he's like, I don't want to lift up a whole plane. That's really hard.
Oh, yeah, it's the dynamics.
He probably could have tried, but he's like, no, that I don't want to.
He's overuse of laser because it's just an instant win, so he's far too liberal with the laser.
Yeah. Whereas this season falls a lot in it's torture porn for Huey. It's spinning its wheels. It's exploding sheep in the sky for no apparent reason.
Because people expect weird shit from the boys.
Because it's the boys. It's fallen into its own self-laid traps.
Well, one could say when it's, we're here criticising multi-worlds like, phase 16, 17. Anyway, the boys is going to continue being an ongoing universe. Join in for Gen V and it's the irony of Prime going, do you like this? So we're going to spin it.
It used to be satire, and I think now it's just too close to home for most people, which doesn't help.
Yeah, South Park's writers say it's hard, at least that was an example. It's hard to do it when America's being so insane. And, and this season of America has been pretty entertaining so far.
Well, what's the finale of this season going to be that we've been working towards for? They shot this last year, a presidential assassination. What are we doing this season in America? Oh no, the same thing. It's just too close to home, which is why people can call it out as woke easier. Whereas before it was satire, whereas now they're just doing spectacle.
I'll be tuning in for then the final season, of course. I still think the show's enjoyable. I just think this season was a bit thumb twiddly overall. Makes me want to go back and watch all this from the start and just get a sense of the good old days.
Fair. I really enjoyed it, and it's fallen off for me a fair bit.
It's amazing how losing weight and a beard just... who the fuck's this? This isn't Mother's Milk.
Ozempic hit this cast hard.
Also, that might be it. There's people who didn't watch Gen V who are watching this going, wait, what?
You've now got homework.
Yeah, and no one likes homework, which is what Marvel's fallen into. Yeah. And this, obviously...
In Star Wars.
Gen V's a fun show. You should watch Gen V.
Gen V is fantastic. Watch Gen V.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I've liked that more than maybe potentially The Boys. Maybe season 1
Season 1 and season 3 for me, I think, stand above Gen V. But Gen V had a fantastic mystery.
Yeah, I did fall off season 2. I only got back into it because season 3 was coming. I actually just stopped watching. So I've been here before with The Boys. I perked it whenever Homelander was on screen. Even when he had his somewhat pointless, I'm going to go back and kill everyone who tortured me just because we need something to do.
We need an Anthony Starr. We need a Homelander episode. And IGN gave that episode a 7. And everyone was like, how you give that masterpiece not a 10? I agree with both sides. That was a fantastic episode when he was on screen, which is half, but they would keep cutting back and forward, which would ruin all your tension, because you're like...
Wouldn't you have loved just a bottle episode of Homelander going back home? Then that would have worked, having the flashbacks and finally getting it clear that this was this guy's life.
You'd have to have him leave a different person to when he arrived, whereas he can do whatever he wants when he arrives, murders everyone, leaves, he can still do whatever he wants. Everyone just had to spin their wheels.
How good is Kimiko's regen as well, mate? I mean, Deadpool has to hang around for a few hours to get his arm back. She's getting it back on the way down. It
is funny that they use it twice, someone needs to get their arm cut off.
Oh, yeah, but when she gets obliterated and just back on it. Overall, The Boys buoyed.